Have you ever looked at a woman who has been married for decades and wondered why she seems distant, even frustrated, with the man she once deeply loved? It's a question that doesn't get asked out loud often, but it lingers in the silence of many homes. What starts as a passionate, hopeful bond between two people can slowly turn into quiet disappointment, daily irritation, or even bitterness. And for countless women, this shift doesn't happen overnight. So what causes it? Why do so many women, after years, sometimes a lifetime, of marriage, feel emotionally drained, unappreciated, or disconnected from their husbands? In this video, we're going to explore the deeper truths behind that shift, the emotional undercurrents and patterns that wear away at a marriage slowly, silently, over time. From evolving needs to years of invisible effort, we'll look closely at the real reasons behind long-term frustration in marriage. Reasons that are often misunderstood or completely overlooked. And I want you to stay with me until the very end. Because once you understand what's really happening beneath the surface, you might begin to see your own relationship, or someone else's, in a completely new light. This isn't just about complaining or pointing fingers. It's about understanding the quiet forces that shape relationships over time. And here's the good news. Once we see these patterns clearly, we can begin to change them. We can shift direction, we can reconnect, we can rebuild. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that now, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. And if this message speaks to you, drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're here. If not, type 0 so I know how to improve this content for you. Now let's begin. 1. Years of emotional labor without recognition. One of the biggest reasons many women begin to feel resentment in their marriages is something that often goes unnoticed: emotional labor. It's not just about cooking meals or cleaning the house. It's the invisible, ongoing work of holding everything together. It's remembering every birthday, managing schedules, smoothing over conflicts, anticipating needs, and making sure everyone is okay, even when she's not. And more often than not, this emotional labor falls on women. Year after year, decade after decade, they carry the emotional weight of the relationship, the family, the home, and they do it quietly. But here's what happens. When her efforts are never seen, never acknowledged, never appreciated, she begins to feel invisible. A husband might believe he's done his part by providing financially, but a healthy marriage needs far more than money. It needs presence. It needs emotional connection. It needs gratitude. Take Carol, for example, a 72-year-old retired teacher. She raised 3 kids, worked full-time, and made sure her husband's life was smooth and comfortable. Every birthday, she chose the gifts. Every holiday, she cooked the meals. She kept track of appointments, maintained friendships, and made life feel stable. But now, looking back, she realizes something heartbreaking. No one ever did the same for her. Her husband never offered to help, never asked how she was doing, never said thank you. And today, she no longer feels love. She feels empty. She feels tired. That's the painful thing about emotional labor. It's invisible. If a man doesn't even see the weight his wife is carrying, he'll never understand why she feels so far away. He'll wonder what changed, without realizing that she simply reached her limit. In the early years of marriage, a simple thank you or a kind gesture may have been enough. But after decades, if her husband still assumes she'll handle everything without any effort from him, he stops being her partner, and she starts to feel more like a caretaker. When that shift happens, love doesn't just fade, it turns into quiet frustration and deep exhaustion. Resentment doesn't appear suddenly. It's built, moment by moment, year by year, out of all the times her efforts went unnoticed. Out of all the time she was expected to give and give, while receiving nothing in return. If you've ever felt this way, if you've ever thought, "Why does no one see what I do?" you are not alone. This is something many women carry quietly, until the silence becomes too loud to ignore. 2. Feeling like a roommate instead of a wife. As the years pass, many women wake up to a heartbreaking realization. They no longer feel like a wife. They feel like a roommate. In the beginning, there was passion. There were long talks, shared dreams, stolen kisses in the kitchen. But slowly, those moments faded. Now, the house is quiet. Conversations are short. Days blur together. And she finds herself sitting next to someone who feels like a stranger. Take Linda, a 69-year-old retired nurse. In her early marriage, she and her husband laughed, explored, connected. But over time, he stopped asking about her day. He turned to the TV, and the silence between them grew louder than any words could fix. Now, they eat together. They sleep in the same bed, but the spark, the closeness, it's gone. What hurts most is that he doesn't even notice. To him, nothing has changed. But to her, everything has. And that's how many men unintentionally lose their wives, not through infidelity, not through abuse, but through neglect. Through the belief that simply being present is enough. But it's not. Women need connection. They need emotional intimacy. They need to feel wanted. When a husband stops trying, stops flirting, stops complimenting, stops listening, she begins to wonder, why am I still here? And here's the saddest part. Many women don't give up easily. They try. They speak up. They ask for more affection, more time, more attention. But when their needs are ignored over and over, they stop asking. And when a woman stops trying, the emotional distance becomes permanent. If this feels familiar, if you've ever felt like a ghost in your own home, you're not imagining it, you're not crazy, and you're not alone. 3. When affection quietly disappears, there comes a point in some marriages when the warmth slowly fades. Not with a fight, not with shouting, but in the stillness of routine. For many women, the heartbreak doesn't come from one dramatic moment. It arrives in silence, through the absence of small gestures, the lack of eye contact, the touch that never comes. At the start of a relationship, affection is everywhere. Hand-holding during walks, warm hugs for no reason, gentle touches, playful flirting, little things that make a woman feel loved and alive. But over time, many men grow comfortable. They stop trying. They forget that affection isn't just something that happens early in love, it's what sustains love. Take Sharon, a 71-year-old retired secretary. She remembered how her husband used to gently touch her back as they talked, how he'd smile when she entered the room. Now, he barely looked at her. Conversations were limited to errands, bills, and practical matters. One evening, she said quietly, "I miss the way things used to be." And he replied, "We're too old for that now." That single sentence told her everything she needed to know. He didn't even see the problem. What many men don't realize is that affection is not about age, it's about emotional safety. Women don't stop wanting to feel beautiful, cherished, or seen just because the years have passed. When affection disappears, a woman doesn't just feel lonely, she feels invisible. This is one of the most painful kinds of neglect. Physical intimacy may change over time, that's natural. Bodies change, energy shifts, health becomes a factor. But what creates resentment is not the decline in passion, it's the lack of emotional effort. A man who stops offering small expressions of love, who no longer gives compliments, who never initiates closeness or warmth. Slowly turns his wife from a cherished partner into a silent roommate. And here's the truth. Women don't just get used to it. They grieve it. They resent it. not because they expect perfection, but because they still crave connection and their husbands have quietly decided it no longer matters. Most women try to fix this before giving up. They bring it up, they drop hints, they ask for affection, for closeness. But if those needs are met with indifference, laughter, or silence, they stop asking. And when a woman stops asking, it doesn't mean she stopped wanting. It means she stopped hoping. And that moment, when she lets go of hope, is when love begins to die. 4. Feeling taken for granted. There's a pain deeper than being ignored. It's being expected. Many women, after decades of love, sacrifice, and devotion, realize that what once was appreciated is now assumed. Her acts of care, cooking, cleaning, remembering special days, offering emotional support, have stopped being noticed. And when gratitude fades, so does intimacy. At the beginning, her efforts were met with thank yous and admiration, but now they're just normal, expected, unspoken. Nancy, a 72-year-old retired principal, lived this story. She spent years making her husband's favorite meals, keeping the house in order, managing their schedule. But one day, after hours in the kitchen, she looked up and asked, "Do you even notice all that I do for you?" He shrugged, confused, as if it never crossed his mind. That moment broke something in her. She realized he no longer saw her at all. When a woman gives endlessly without receiving appreciation, it chips away at her joy. At first, she still gives from love. But over time, love becomes obligation, and obligation becomes resentment. Resentment doesn't come from a single betrayal. It comes from 1,000 small disappointments. She may still do the things she always did, but not with a smile. She stops laughing. She stops initiating conversations. She stops giving, not because she's bitter, but because she's empty. Appreciation doesn't take much. A simple thank you, a hug, a glance that says, "I see you." But when even these small things disappear, so does the heart of the relationship. 5. Growing apart. Perhaps the most heartbreaking realization of all is this: you no longer know the person you married. Over time, many women look across the room at their husbands and feel like they're looking at a stranger. This doesn't happen with a bang. It happens with silence, with busyness, with years of living side by side, but not really together. At first, the connection is deep. They talk for hours, share dreams, make plans. But over the years, if those conversations don't continue, if the curiosity fades, the relationship starts to feel hollow. Margaret, a 74-year-old retired social worker, used to stay up late with her husband talking about life. Now, when she brings up her feelings, he shrugs and turns on the news. When she shares something important, he's not really listening. She feels unknown. The worst part, he doesn't seem to mind. That's what makes the pain so sharp. She feels alone, he feels fine. Because many men mistake peace for connection. They think that if there's no argument, everything is okay. But for women, silence can be devastating. It's not peace, it's emotional absence. And that absence hurts more than words can explain. Women grow. They evolve. They find new passions, new questions, new dreams. But when their husbands stay stuck in old patterns, refusing to grow with them, the marriage begins to feel like a cage. Not because of anger, but because of disconnection. Women mourn the marriage they thought they had. They miss the man who made them laugh, who held their hand, who looked into their eyes with wonder. And when that version of him is gone, resentment begins. Because love isn't a one-time promise. It's a choice made every day. And when that choice is no longer made, love fades until only the shell remains. Resentment doesn't just appear one day, it builds quietly, in the silence between words, in the moments when needs go unnoticed, in the space between two people who once held each other close. But here's what matters. Resentment doesn't mean love is dead, it means love needs attention, it means something has to change. If any part of this message resonates with you, know this. You are not alone. You are not asking for too much. And it is never too late to speak up. You deserve connection. You deserve appreciation. You deserve to feel seen, heard, and valued. So, now I want to hear from you. Which part of this story touched you most deeply? Have you ever felt this way? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your words may help another woman realize she's not alone either. And if this video gave you insight or comfort, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Together, let's create a space where women's hearts are heard, not hidden. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next video.